This is AM Agenda. With me this morning, Ed Husic and Josh Frydenberg. Josh Frydenberg, apologies, I interrupted you to go to the break. Your thoughts?
Look, I was just going to say, we're seeing a theme running through Bill Shorten's conduct here, most recently in relation to this China-Australia Free Trade Agreement, where he's not acting in the interests of all Australians, he's acting in the interests of the union movement, because just last week we saw in the Parliament the Labor Party block the reinstatement of the Australian Building and Construction Commission, which was a cop on the beat on our building sites, producing a $6 billion a year productivity dividend. And we've also seen Bill Shorten try to shield the unions from proper scrutiny at the Royal Commission with their partisan attacks on Dyson Heydon. So there's actually a theme, whether it's the China-Australia Free Trade Agreement, whether it's the ABCC, whether it's the Royal Commission, where the Labor Party is actually doing the bidding of the unions, who only represent 13% of the Australian private sector workforce.
There's a risk here, isn't there, Ed Husic, if Labor goes too far
through the break for. Come on.
Well, no, but there's a serious point here in terms of the Royal Commission, that you've made your point about Dyson Heydon. The guy is a long-serving High Court judge. People can make up their judgments, but judgments as to the claims of apprehended bias themselves. But in terms of some of the serious outcomes here, Labor's really got to be credible about the outcomes, surely. Otherwise, you'll be seen to be simply being a human shield to the thugs and others that are accused here of wrongdoing in the Commission.
Let me just first say that what Josh was making reflections on, Josh being part of a government led by noted nation builder Tony Abbott. I mean, Tony Abbott exists as a leader of a political party, not as a leader of a nation. He will always put his party's interests first. He will not put the nation's interests first, and he will always pick a blue. That's the evidence. He will always pick a fight. And so we're seeing this on some other things we'll no doubt talk about this morning. I'm not having Josh say that having him as a minister of the Abbott government tell us about political fights, political blues, when you see what Tony Abbott does. In terms of your point, Kieran, in relation to the Royal Commission, we've said zero tolerance. If there is bad behaviour by employers or unions, deal with it. Give the resources to the police, give the resources to the proper regulators, handle it that way instead of setting up an expensive political exercise in a Royal Commission. Another example of a political fight that Tony Abbott has wanted to start.